Well, welcome to another Cat Country KATcast. Kevin Hilly along with Aaron Hart, Jordan J. Fun little experiment here today, a thought exercise, if you will. We're coming up with our own Mount Rushmore. Yes. We saw the story where Wyoming apparently wants to create their own Mount Rushmore, which, of course, is found in, is it North Dakota or South Dakota?
North Dakota.
Are you sure?
I think.
No, I think it's in South
Dakota.
South Dakota. I think. I don't know. Regardless.
Geography.
We already have a Mount Rushmore. But Wyoming wants to come. So we thought, well, what about a Missouri?
Mount Rushmore?
Mount Rushmore. Famous Missourians. Who would we put on Mount Rushmore? And I think we all have our own list here. So are we doing this all four? Or are we doing one each and then coming up with a fourth one? How are we doing this? What did we decide on?
I say we come up. I say we just give what our individual Mount Rushmores, and then I say at the end we make
come
our
up with a
own.
fourth.
We come up. With
Which one of you guys said South Dakota?
I think I did.
All right, you are correct.
Yay!
Keystone.
Keystone.
That's it.
Okay.
I was thinking North Dakota for some reason.
Okay. Going back and forth here. I had actually a list of four.
So are you going for Missouri?
Missouri, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So famous Missourians. Who would we put on our Mount Rushmore?
Mm-hmm.
I got to go with Harry Truman.
I have him as my number one too.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Okay, well, I'll take a different one if you want to use that.
No, you're fine. You go and you.
I got to go with Harry Truman. Number one, obviously, the Mount Rushmore is presidential.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're just talking, but I mean, there's all kinds of other names. Okay, so I'm going to say Harry Truman.
Okay. Is that your only one?
Oh, no. I thought we were going to each do one, and then the fourth one decide together. Wasn't that the plan? Okay. Somebody has to run this circus. Okay.
So see, I thought we were all coming up with one, and then at the end we'd put together our ultimate.
Yes. So what we're
Okay. So I'll give you three more.
Each individual do one, and then we're going to do a collective.
Gotcha. So I'll give you three more names here. Okay. Got it.
Yes.
I also this is a tip of the hat to radio. Rush Limbaugh, the greatest talk host in the history. He created the medium, as far as I'm concerned. Rush Limbaugh, Brad Pitt, from the Boot Heel, and Walt Disney.
Oh yes,
Walt
of course,
Disney.
Of course.
Come on, man. I mean, again, he was a media.
You talk influential person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you just say Brad Pitt was from the Boot Heel? Isn't he
He's
from Springfield?
That's right. You're right. I'm thinking of Sheryl Crow. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Here's the thing. Doing this, I found out there are a lot of famous people from Missouri.
There really are. There really are. All right. So, Aaron, those are my four. What do you come up with?
Okay. I'm going with Vincent Price, who's from St. Louis.
Get out.
Yeah. Of course, he was a stage star, in movies. Tons of Edgar Allan Poe stuff, which is stuff that I've read. That's kind of my jam. I like the spooky, creepy, scary stuff, and he has done so many of those films. And just that voice alone, top notch.
I wish I could grow a stash like just a thin pencil one that he had.
With a little wax, you might be able to.
The man was a presence.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Okay, so then my second one, John Goodman from St. Louis.
Yep.
He's just funny.
Yeah.
He's a likable guy. I enjoy every single thing that he's ever put out.
Great, from Roseanne right on to the movies he did.
He's funny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, King Ralph.
Is
that not one of the best movies
that's right.
ever?
Exactly.
Okay. Another one, Molly Brown.
Molly Brown, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Refresh my memory.
Of course, you will know her most famously from The Unsinkable. Molly Brown.
From the actual Titanic.
Was from the Titanic.
Oh, okay.
I'd never heard of her. So when that movie came out, I did some research, and it turns out she'd come from absolutely nothing. She's born in Hannibal. They were super poor. She married young. 7 years after she married her husband, they struck it rich. So from there, she was a philanthropist.
And that's how she ended up being able to be on the Titanic, probably.
She had been touring Europe and decided, this is a quick way for me to get back to America. Here I go. And
how about that?
She just happened to be on there. So she was really quite an interesting person when I kind of dug up more research on her. So pretty cool stuff. And then, the last one, it's a tough one because you've got Dick Van Dyke, you've got Walt Disney, but I'm going with Samuel Clemens. Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. You got a couple of non non-modern TV movie entertainers. I like that. Good list.
Sure.
Okay, so for me, number one, I went with Harry S. Truman. Me and Kevin share with that one.
Yeah.
And then I went George Washington Carver.
Ooh, good one.
Ooh, wow.
I mean, the man,
Peanuts.
Okay, he's credited for making like over 300 inventions.
Hey, we wouldn't have Jiffy without him.
Incredibly ingenious man.
Yeah,
yes.
you're talking the dude that's behind. I mean, so a lot of people know him for peanut butter,
right.
but he also invented Worcestershire sauce.
What's this here sauce?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. Thanks for that, George Washington Carver. We can't pronounce it. But
he's looking down and going, that's right.
Yeah. But it turns out he's come up with like all these things that we use like on a day-to-day basis, like all these spices, all these oils. It's all from George Washington Carver.
That's fascinating. All right, I love that. I love that.
So then I also have Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt because again he's iconic.
Sure.
Steven Spielberg. I have Steven Spielberg. He went to Mizzou. His wife, they had family in Columbia, so again, you're talking one of the more influential
all
filmmakers.
the movies we wouldn't have without Steven Spielberg.
Think of all these movies that we wouldn't have.
Yeah, he's married to Kate Capshaw, right?
Yes. And I believe, her parents, I think, lived in Columbia for a while. Maybe still, they did for a long time, Went to Mizzou and all that. And then I got my last one is, and I have to go with it, Lucas Black. I have to go with Lucas Black.
Oh, he's an actor,
I was going to go with John. I was going to go with John Goodman.
I don't know Lucas.
So Lucas Black, but he's if you've seen Legion, have you seen Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift?
Okay. He's an actor.
Yeah, he's an actor.
All right.
Oh,
42. You've seen 42, Jackie Robinson movie.
Oh, I saw that.
He was in that movie. He was in that movie with him too.
Okay.
He was in the movie. He was a kid. Was it Susan Sarandon?
Yes.
And I want to say Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
Was it? It's not The Client.
And I know recently he's been on. He did NCIS New Orleans and stuff. But I had to include Lucas because number one, he's a family friend. Funny enough, we actually kind of know Lucas. And number two, my uncle golfed with him all the time. But number two, I just love his movies, man. I've loved everything Lucas has been in, and it's great. So had to include him again from Columbia, another kind of hometown guy.
Okay, Kevin pulled up what all he's in. Okay, so he was the kid in Sling Blade.
Yes, Sling
Blade. But I know him from another movie.
All I know of Sling Blade is Billy Bob Thornton because Aaron always says, "You look like Billy Bob Thornton from Sling Blade." I go,
You do.
"Great, his most flattering portrayal." Thank you.
French fried potatoes.
We were watching Landman the other day, which is a great show, by the way. If you haven't seen Landman, oh my God! And my wife goes, "You really do look like him, except your nose is different." I said, "Okay, whatever." This is my wife saying this, okay?
Kevin does
she's heard
look
over
a
the
lot
years.
like Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton, all right. So Lucas Black, okay.
Lucas Black. So I think that rounds out my four. Is it four?
That's
5?
four.
It's
You
4?
came up with four there.
It is.
It's funny. If you were just again, there are so many. If you're just watching this, we're coming up with our Missouri Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
Right.
Famous Missourians on this Mount Rushmore. And there's so many you could. I mean, Sheryl Crow, musically, Sheryl Crow, Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
Gosh, who else? What's his name? Rob Riggle.
Yeah, Rob Riggle.
You know,
there's so many people.
The guy from Eric. What's his name? From
John Hamm.
John Hamm. The guy from Modern Family from Kansas City.
I know who you're talking
about.
Yeah.
Stone Street.
Yeah.
Eric Stone Street. He's from Kansas City, I think. You know.
Man, there's so many.
There's so many from Missouri that you don't. But so that's our famous Missouri. Now I'll tell you, if you want to, you could make a Mount Rushmore for so many things. But we're not done with Missouri yet, though, are we? Because now we're gonna.
Let's say now
we're gonna finalize it to 4.
Let's finalize it.
Okay.
So you can use it even like off your list if you want to.
Yeah. Well, you and I certainly agreed on Harry Truman.
I think Harry Truman.
I don't know,
has
Aaron.
to
Are
be
you
on
in
the
with
spot.
that? I mean,
Yeah. No, absolutely. You have to put. I think you're right.
I think Harry Truman is like 100%.
Okay.
Has to be on there, right?
Okay.
Absolutely.
So who's next to Harry?
Who's next to Harry?
President Truman. Excuse me.
I'd say.
Are we each picking one from our own list then? So we all agree on Truman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I like that idea.
Oh, gosh, that's a tough one. I'm going with Vincent Price.
Vincent Price.
Wow. Okay.
Right up there by Truman. I like that. I could see that.
You. What do you got?
I think I'm gonna go George Washington Carver.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna go. The dude, so influential and made so many things we love today. I gotta go with him.
I am torn. See, I'm torn between Walt Disney and Brad Pitt. And the thing is, I'm trying to make it even in terms of fields of endeavor. Mm-hmm. And do we have any actors yet on here?
Vincent Price.
Vincent Price.
Yeah, see. I'm going to go with Walt Disney. He was an innovator. He was a real innovator. Yeah. So there you go. So
don't worry, Brad. We want to put you on it. We do.
You might be on this next list I thought of, but we'll see. But so we got Harry Truman, Vincent Price,
George Washington Carver,
and Walt Disney. That is okay. Where are we going to put this Mount Rushmore? That's
yeah. Now where do we build it?
We got to find a place.
That's what we need to find.
Could we build it in the bluff? Overlooking the Missouri.
Yeah,
we could.
That would be awesome.
It might not be as big as.
Let's clarify. We couldn't.
No,
we're morons. We can come up with great ideas.
Chiseling.
But then smarter people will.
You got Harry Truman's nose wrong. Oh man! And it might not be as big as the actual Mount Rushmore right now, but that's okay.
It'll be bigger.
You've heard of Mount Rushmore, but what about Mount Missouri Rushmore?
Right.
If you were doing, and Missouri aside, if you were doing a Mount Rushmore of, say, famous, like musicians, there's been so many great musicians over the history of the world, and I was thinking, who would I put on a Mount Rushmore of music, just music, dead or alive, doesn't matter,
I was going to say, are we doing all Missourians or just in general?
Just in general.
Okay.
I mean, you could do a pretty decent one with Missouri.
I was going to say, if you were doing Missourians, you'd have to do Chapel Roan.
Chuck Berry.
She's from Willard, Missouri.
I mean, you also 100% have to do Eminem. Marshall Mathers was born in Missouri.
Was he born?
That?
What?
But he's known for...
He's from Missouri. Grew up in Detroit, but he's from Missouri, born here. So, yeah.
Was he raised here?
Was not raised.
I was going to say...
But he's from. You said from Missouri.
Okay.
I was going to say Nelly.
Nelly
sure.
as well.
Nelly.
Yeah.
Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
Oh, Sheryl Crow. Hello.
Yeah.
And how about Sarah Evans?
Sarah Evans from New Franklin, I
love that song, Missing Missouri. Oh, my God, it's such a great song.
Such a great one.
Okay, but here's just a list that I put together. Again, this is just my music. It's completely subjective, but music history, Mount Rushmore. Elvis. Got to have Elvis on there. Michael Jackson. Frank Sinatra. And I'm a Beatles nut, so I can't put all...
You only pick one.
I can't put all four Beatles, unless I did like little heads all next to each other.
You got to do one.
Okay.
Do one.
I'm going to say Paul McCartney.
Paul. You have to go with Paul. I feel like.
I could argue John Lennon, but Paul McCartney.
And not to put John Lennon down. I feel like Paul though. Of all the Beatles, I feel like Paul probably has the most recognition. I feel like he's of all the Beatles. When I think
that is a Beatles fight, I'm not going to get into because I guarantee you, people who are listening or watching this right now, what is he talking about?
I know. When I hear Beatles, I think Paul.
Yeah.
That's the name that comes to mind first when you say Beatles.
Well, his voice was.
He was
so
the most
prominent
featured
in most of their songs.
Exactly,
sure.
Exactly.
So all right. So that's my music. You guys got any ideas? Again, from anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
And let me, if I may just add, I know my list is rather aged. Because it's based on my age and music that I know and remember. So
I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna have Eminem be one of them.
You're still going with that Eminem.
I'm going with Eminem. Eminem's he was so influential, man. And like what he did, like in that whole scene and everything, is just, okay. You can't sit there and deny that he wasn't super influential musically for a lot of people. Now, you're talking Mount Rushmore of music. I feel like he just did so much musically, right?
Okay, we're going with Eminem.
So I'm going to go Eminem, probably my number one. And then I'm going to go with, this is so tough, Kevin.
Yeah, I know.
This is so tough.
And Aaron's thinking of hers right now.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm on the spot, too.
Yes, you are.
I don't know why.
Think about the music you love.
Okay. I'm going to go with Ray Charles.
Oh.
I'm going to go with
I will not argue with you on that.
I'm going with Ray Charles.
Oh.
I'm going to go with Prince.
Okay.
I'm going to go with... why can't I think of his name?
You want to think about it while Aaron goes hers?
Yeah. I got my three. Let me think of this. Let me think of my last one.
Whew. Okay, this is a tough one because I'm going to keep it country.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Johnny Cash. Got to have Dolly in there.
Dolly.
Love Dolly.
Yeah.
Okay, Patsy Cline. That's a tough one because I love Loretta Lynn. I'm going to go Patsy Cline. And then I'm going to go with, because there's George Jones. And of course, there's, George Strait. But
how many Georges? Yeah.
Gosh.
George Jefferson.
No, I want to, no. Then I'm going to go with Hank Williams. Senior, not junior.
Senior, okay.
Senior.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just expand our Mount Rushmore like 15
Yeah,
years?
I was going to say,
It's like this ginormous landscape.
That's what makes it tough.
I know. No, exactly right.
I'm going to go.
What's your last one? Yeah, we need to come up with your last one. Are you still working on that?
Dude, there's too many good artists, man. There's too many good artists. Because I'm thinking I don't know. I can't not have George Strait on my list. I feel like King George has to be on there.
I love the Johnny Cash though.
Johnny Cash.
Gosh,
yeah.
Holy cow!
I like Johnny Cash a lot.
Well, hey, this would be kind of fun. I'd love to see if you're watching or listening to this right now, and obviously you are because you're hearing us say this. Who would you put on a Mount Rushmore from wherever you're listening from, whatever state you're in or where you're from or whatever? Give us a Mount Rushmore of famous people from your state. Love to see what you come up with.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. There's lots of ways that you can let us know. You can leave a comment right below this video, or, you can always email us, and that's catcountry@mailzimmer.com.
We'd love to hear from you. This is a really cool
KATcast
today, man. I love this. And that is another edition of the KATcast.